I really believe that to trust yourself in life is the most important thing that you can do. It's cultivated from within. And if it's really, really important to you and it's really something coming from your heart, it's still going to feel scary, but it's the thing to do. And that has always been a through line in my life and continues to be. The more real you are with yourself, the more that you can trust yourself. This is The Roxanne Show. Get ready. It's time to rise. Welcome back to The Roxanne Show. Today's episode, I'm going to be answering some killer questions from our community. It's been a minute since I've done a Q&A, and I love connecting with all of you in the community. So I'm really excited. I've been collecting some epic questions from all of you worldwide, and I'm excited to dive right into it. So the first one is from Sarah C. from Sydney, Australia. Sarah asks, what's one belief you've had to unlearn to fully trust yourself? What's one belief I've had to unlearn to fully trust myself? First is that safety is an illusion, right? We live on this planet in the middle of fucking a universe, and at any moment, we don't know what comes next, right? And of course, that's not to say that, we can't cultivate safety within ourselves. We can't, feel safe in relationships. I'm not saying that. But when I think about what it takes to trust myself, well, let's think about why do I even want to trust myself? I want to trust myself so I can move through life powerfully, so I can bet on myself, so I can take chances, so I can put myself in situations and know that no matter what the outcome is, that I got me and that I'm going to be good. I'm going to be okay. And hopefully I'm going to be even better. Right. And so trusting ourselves is everything. I mean, it's a core piece of the conversation into all my work. Right. So this idea though, of a lot of times there's many reasons why people don't trust themselves. One of the reasons is they're trying to hold on to what feels safe. How do I preserve a sense of safety, right? This is the difference of someone who's playing life to win versus someone who's playing to not lose. And there's a big difference there. The person who's playing to win is going to play life more offensively. And that is me. That looks like a lot of risk taking. I have a high tolerance for risk. Not necessarily am I the kind of person who's, when I say high tolerance for risk, I'm going to go climb the top of the mountain, or I'm going to go surf a 50-foot wave. For me, it's I'm going to start a fucking business because, my heart's calling me towards it. I'm going to, move across the country, and into a new city because my heart is calling me towards it. Right. So this takes a lot of trust. And I think that when I really downloaded and realized this fallacy of safety, there's nothing really safe about being alive. You get in your car and you hope you're going to get to your destination. And that sounds however it sounds, but take the emotion out. It's just a fucking fact. So when we can get down to that truth, then we get to decide, well, what do we want to do with that? Then how do you want to play life? So I think, we come into this life, and a lot of how we're all raised, and I get this, is to try and just stay safe. And I'm not saying don't create safety within yourself. In fact, let me angle the conversation now, or the answer to this question now in that way. This is one of the most important things to realize. The only safety that you can truly cultivate in life is within yourself. And I remember writing that in my journal. Oh, fuck, man. Almost 20 years ago at this point, depending on when you're watching this video, this podcast, or listening. But I remember saying that safety, the true safety, comes down to the relationship that I've built between my mind and my heart. Everything else in terms of what's safe out here is a variable that can change at any moment in time. So is it truly safe? Again, I'm not saying you can't have safety in relationships. I certainly do in mine, but my sense of security isn't coming from anything external. It is absolutely being forged from within. So, the belief around safety, like how do I stay safe? How do I move through life and keep myself safe? I mean, I don't even know if that was necessarily a belief as much as an idea that we all sort of get, programmed with, from a very young age. So that was one thing though that, call it a program, call it an idea, call it a belief. The minute that became obvious to me that that's not even true, that there is no such thing as safety out here, that the only safety that you can truly, truly cultivate in life is within yourself. That just allowed me to trust myself more. And trusting yourself is everything. So that's an epic question. Thank you, Sarah from Australia. Next question from Greg Parkle. New York, New York. What's up, New York? Love New York. Can you talk about a moment in your life where trusting yourself felt like the scariest thing you could do, but also the most right? Yeah, my whole fucking life. How much time? No, meaning like, God, all I've done throughout my life is take the leaps and trust myself. But if there's a very specific moment or example I can give you, for sure, it's the investment of building a business, investing in me, right, to build the business. There's so much that goes into being an entrepreneur, so much, and it's always been my thing. I learned that at a very young age, that I have that spirit and that way about me, that I'm a team player, but I don't do well with restrictions. I don't do well with like I'd rather play. How do I say this? I'm thinking back to when I was 21, when it actually hit me, where I was like, oh, you're really more of like, you want to build your own shit kind of thing. Because I'd rather gamble, give it everything and have no ceiling so that I could take it as far and reap the most rewards, and have my freedom in the process than move and working with a company or whatever. And again, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just, knowing what you're built for. So trusting myself, what felt scary is just when you're putting down a lot of fucking money and you don't know how fast you can recover that money. So it's a gamble, it's a risk, it's, but everything in life to me that, when you're playing to win, your risk is just a part of it. You have to be willing to fucking take the shot. You have to be. One of my favorite quotes is, you can't make a home run with your foot on first base. Like, you have to be willing to be taken out, to make that home run. And so being an entrepreneur, there's so many moments where I'm tested, where I have to trust myself, and it's fucking scary because, you're building and sometimes you're like digging and you're going deeper and deeper, but you're not necessarily seeing the recovery yet or the, like the wins yet, but this is also where the intangibles get really, get stronger. You're more gritty. You have to have more faith in yourself. You have to, be more aggressive and have, more ambition. I mean, there's just so discipline, even the ways that you show up. So there's a lot of benefits of playing offensively like this and taking those risks. But yeah, I would say definitely that, in every situation outside of even just the business aspect of things where I've had to trust myself and it felt scary, I can tell you right now that looking back, I'm really happy with every decision that I've made. And even if it was one where I'm like, ooh, would you do that again? There's no regret. It's more of like, well, that was a good lesson. And sometimes those expensive lessons are important, because a $25,000 lesson is a lot less than $1 million lesson. And when you're playing to fucking win in life, you're only going to be climbing and getting bigger and taking on more. And so, do you see what I'm saying? So, or hopefully you do, but I really believe that just like the first question, to trust yourself in life is the most important thing that you can do. It's cultivated from within. And if it's really, really important to you and it's really something coming from your heart, it's still going to feel scary, but it's the thing to do. And that has always been a through line in my life and continues to be. So great question, Greg. All right. Juno Vale from San Francisco, California says or asks, Roxanne, what's one practice you use daily to stay connected to your authentic self? One practice for sure is it's more of my morning ritual. So this is time before I go out here and I give to the world, I go in and I spend that time with myself. I literally don't even want to hear my own voice, because it's like I'm in a trance. Like I wake up and I've got alpha brain waves happening, which is, very calm, tranquil state. It's excellent for meditation. So I go into conversation with myself, or I just witness myself, right? So meditation, certainly my writing, journaling in the morning. And this is a huge way to not only stay connected with your authentic self, but to really, really download and receive whatever it is that you were meant to take in from your most authentic self. Like for me, it's that morning time. It's quiet. It's that, meditation and the writing that just allows me to sit with myself, and maybe every morning looks different. I might have some things I really want to contemplate on. I might have some questions that I want to try and access answers to, but certainly in this time period, it's when I am best able, because there's no noise. That's the most important thing, right? Your authentic self gets buried by all this noise, right? And even noise that starts to come in from your interaction of the day. It could be the inner critic, like, you know what I mean? But in the morning, it's like a fresh start for me. Here's another point that's really, really important, and how I stay connected with my authentic self. I'm just honest with myself. So this is not, a ritual, but it's a practice, and ultimately it's a standard. It's a standard for me. When you are honest with yourself, then you are being true to yourself, and you're being connected to your true self, right? See how that works? Honest with myself, connected to my true self. The minute you start lying to yourself, you're cheating on your true self. You're disconnecting from your authentic self. You don't really want to say yes to the thing, whatever the thing is. Okay. But you do, or you don't really want to say no, but you do, whatever the fucking thing is. Whenever you start lying to yourself, you're betraying your true self. And every time you betray your true self, your authentic self, you disconnect. So kind of two answers there, right? So morning time, if this sounds something interesting for you, like something that you could do, even just 10 minutes of just quiet, just be quiet, especially after waking up, if you have a lifestyle that allows for that. Or if not, like do it in the shower. Just be quiet and listen. And maybe some things naturally come through, or maybe it's asking questions. But that's one part, being quiet with yourself. Writing 1,000% is a way to stay connected with your authentic self. I do these really incredible, life-changing, and I'm not just fucking hyping it. There's all the testimonials from other women who explain that my writing challenges that I do in my Substack really allow for them to connect with their most authentic self. And there's so much that comes with that, so much value that comes with that, that is affecting their entire life. So it's life changing for them. And a big part of that is that through the writing, they're able to connect with their authentic self. So writing's another part. And then I would say, just again, being very honest with yourself is a practice and a standard that keeps you connected with your true self. So I love that question. Thank you, Juno. All right, Devin Cruz from Miami, Florida. What's up, Devin in Miami? God, I miss Miami. I gotta get back out to South Beach soon. Well, it's one way you've learned to spot the difference between fear that's protective and fear that's just a habit of playing small. That's a fucking good question. Okay, first of all, our body. Our body will tell us when we're actually in danger. I really believe that. I fucking know it. Like, you tense. Our body has an intelligence that's actually faster than a rational mind. And so I say your body will tell you if you're actually in life-threatening danger or if you're playing small. Here will be the difference. If you're playing small, then you're going to become avoidant. You're going to try and run away from, like, I'm going to numb. I'm going to go, I'm avoiding, I'm hiding. That's very different than if something is actually off. Like, I feel like my life is being, threatened in some way. You're going to get tense. You're going to get tight. You're going to get, constricted. So I think your body will tell you if, which one is which. And if you're playing small, I mean, honestly, look, there's also this other part where it's like, you fucking know. We all know. Do we want to admit it? Nope. A lot of times, no. And there could even be some real reasons, like maybe you're afraid to make that change, to have the conversation, to, playing small can mean a lot of different things, right? But maybe there's some traumatic experience that happened that is making you more avoidant, that makes you want to numb and hide. And so I say this with empathy, sometimes playing small sounds really aggressive, but there could be very legitimate reasons why someone's sort of backing down and, hiding a bit. You still want to work through it, but I'm pointing that out just to kind of bring some heart and softening into it. It's okay. You're good. No. Keeping it in. You fucking have to, because this is a Roxanne show. Yeah. But it's so important just to, number one, always let your body, and this is why also being healthy, I think, is so important, because the healthier you are, the more receptive you are to your body. But if you're in a real life-threatening situation, where it's this protective, fear, your body's going to tell you, like, hey, this doesn't feel right. Your nervous system's going to tell you. But if it's you, backing down from something that you probably don't want to be backing down to, because it's better for you to play bigger, to move forward, to do the thing, then this is going to look like, you just become unmotivated, you become tired, you become, let me distract myself, let me run, let me numb, let me just avoid this particular situation because I just don't really want to deal with it. And it's pretty straightforward. So I think honesty is obviously a big part to this too, because I think it isn't that hard to distinguish the difference. It just comes down to how real do you want to be with yourself. And I think it's when going back to the first two questions, and then I'll wrap this out. Trusting yourself, I said, is the most important thing. It is literally the most important thing in life. If you think about a life where you're not trusting yourself, you are absolutely playing small. You are certainly, not playing to win. You never get to taste your true potential. And I would go as far to say that you never really get to meet your true self. because you can't, there's barriers between you and you and your highest self. And so you don't exchange with life in a way that's going to show you more of who you truly are. And when we think about how real you want to be with yourself, that statement that I just dropped, I mean, that is a huge piece to trusting yourself, right? The more real you are with yourself, the more that you can trust yourself. I was just having a conversation with a dear friend of mine before I started recording, and I was like, I won't lie to myself. The minute I start lying to myself, now I've just entered a whole, shit ton of problems that I don't want to have in my life. And even if facing the hard truth hurts and it sucks, I'll take that pain 8 days a week, because at least I know, at least you kept it real with yourself. And if you can trust yourself to always be honest with yourself, I mean, just think about that. You will always turn to yourself. And that's what we want to do in life. We don't want to turn away from ourselves. We want to turn to ourselves. This is how we build this security, this safe place. It's all coming together now, all the threads, but that sense of security that I talked about earlier, that you don't get from out here. And again, I'm not saying that you can't have relationships that make you feel safe. You better believe that my fucking teammates, my best friends, there is safety that is absolutely built into our dynamic, into our exchange. But my sense of security in who I am, first of all, and then in how I move through my life, is not coming from anybody outside of me at all. And this also allows me to trust myself more. So it's allowing me to trust myself more, and then it's supporting, that trust is allowing me to feel more secure within myself. It's this beautiful, reciprocity between the security within and the trust within, right? So hopefully that really hits your heart. Maybe it's one of you, or maybe several of you needed to hear that today. But remember, this is your one life. This is not a dress rehearsal. If you get to live another life, who knows if you come back as you. This is my only life as Roxanne. And I know that to really live the fullness of who I truly am, then I have to trust myself. And so it becomes this, everything in my life is about, how do I continue to trust myself more? How do I continue to develop more of this sense of safety and security in who I am and how I navigate life? Because I want to be this self-actualized woman who's living with mastery, who is, creating a life that is fucking delicious. And on my last breath, if I get to look back at it, I'll smile and say, good fucking job. Good work. All right. These are epic questions. If you want to leave me a question, I'd love to get your question. Here's a few ways you can do it. You can DM me, Roxy Look, on Instagram. All of this is in the show notes. You can drop it in YouTube in the comments if you're watching this there. And you can also respond on Spotify, because, hey, Spotify lets you do that now. So if you have a question, please do send it over, and I will make sure that it enters into one of these episodes. All right, you guys, I will catch you on the next one. Thanks so much for listening, you guys. Please like, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating and review.